They tell me you're a man with true grit.
What do you want, girl? Speak up at supper time.
And you can check us out on Done Right TV on Facebook or Done Right TV on YouTube. And presented by good old Kelly. Now, hey, if you love racing as much as we do, you can go to www.doneright.tv for a live show. If you want to watch live each and every race night, it's $20. But hey, if you want to watch all the past shows, that's $14.99 a month. And I'm going to tell you, you get 8 tracks that are showing racing action, you know, along with this great program, True Grit. You can check out all the past shows. We had Bone Larson, Ray Cox, Gary Webb, Brian Burkhoff, all the great drivers. And tonight, we got a good friend and another great driver on here, Ray Cox Jr. What's going on, Ray?
Yeah, we're just here enjoying the weather. Finally, it's not steaming hot out again, today, so it's nice breezy.
Yeah. And you got Kayla with.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, she brightens up the studio. We got us old, worn-out, haggard guys, and then you got this beautiful young lady, your daughter, Kayla. Nice having you on board here, Kayla.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Hey, we're going to get a little racing results here. Friday night, Davenport Speedway, IMCA late model, great feature event. Boy, Justin Kai, the Flying Farmer, ended up picking up the win, 4-time IMCA late model national champion, but he didn't do it till the last 2 laps. Jake Waterman led that late model feature event up till 2 to go. Matt Ryan running second, and here comes Justin Kai like he's done so many times. Zipped by him, picked up the win. Matt Ryan came home second, and Jake Waterman third, but a great run. In street stock division, no stranger to victory lane. Jeff Struck in the number 4S picked off the win Friday night at Davenport Speedway. And in open wheel modified, Ray, man, Matt Werner, he won the makeup feature. The track was heavy, and then it started to slick off a little bit. Come back and won the regular feature. That's tough. You ever won 2 features in one night?
No, never.
Wow, that's something.
That's a tough deal.
Yeah. Ben Chapman ended up picking off the Sport Mod feature win. Very emotional win for Ben Chapman. His grandfather passed away last week, so he got pretty emotional down in victory lane, but, was happy he was able to pick off the win. Sport Compact, things don't change. Kyle Hawkins in the number 28 picks off the Sport Compact win. Coming up at Davenport Speedway, May 20th, we got a makeup late model in stock car feature event. That's going to be this Friday night at Davenport Speedway, and we'll be running late models, mods, street stock, sport mod, and sport compact. Hot laps at 6:30. Racing to follow. The grandstand admission, adults $12, 5 to 12 $5, and 4 and under free. Gates open at 5 o'clock in the grandstand. And then coming up in 2 weeks, May 27th, we're going to have the Hoker Trucking East Series rolling to town. The SLMRs, 5,000 to win. We'll also be running IMCA modified, sport mods, street stocks, and sport compacts. And West Liberty will not be running Saturday night. They got graduation. So I got word today that they're pulling the plug on Saturday night, and they're going to reschedule that race. It'll be on their Facebook page, so make sure and check that out for the future dates. But we will get rolling here, Ray and Kayla. First picture we're going to pop up. We're going to roll the clock way back. Number 1, Wookie. Let's see what we got for number 1. Who's that good-looking guy, Ray?
That's my idol.
Man, I'm telling you what. East Moline Speedway, you can tell the times. Skip Chick, his dad, Lloyd Chick, and he promoted East Moline Speedway back in the day. And they call it, Chicken Chick was the name of their promotions. But he's got a cigarette in his mouth like everybody had back then. And your dad's sitting down in victory lane in that number 11. And you're no different than your dad. I mean, look at that beautiful-looking race car. And that was probably, you think, Ray, that was back in the 60s?
Yeah, 67, I believe it was.
Okay.
And I always got a chuckle out of it because he's got an IMCA sticker right on the windshield there.
Yeah, I like that. And then right below it, he had a Wins sticker, and there was usually a Bardall guy or a Wins guy at the Speedway every night. And I was just a little kid, so, man, I'd go running up and 9, 10 years old, see how many decals or stickers I could pick up that night at the racetrack. So let's look at number 2, Wook. See what we got there. Another one, Skip Chick. Look at that. We got more cigarettes out there. The Bardall guy over there with the Bardall coat, and I'm sure your dad won that night.
Yeah.
But check out part of that quarter panel missing. Got the old exhaust pipe hanging out there, and it looked like a 3/4-ton truck rear end in that baby, but your dad's still sitting down in Victory Lane.
Yeah. Yeah, he won a lot of races with that car. A lot of races.
It looks fast. Hey, we want to remind people out there, too, make sure you like and share this program right now. Share it with all the friends you can, and that'll help us keep this thing on the air for free. So we're going to roll up a little bit to the number 3 pick, and that one there must have been a night they were running Powder Puff, because look at that pretty woman in Victory Lane there.
Yeah, that was Mom out at Hawkeye Raceway. That would have been about 66,
Okay.
65, 66.
All right.
That was Dad's new car back then.
Okay. And then, Kayla, what do you think about that?
Oh, I love it. I wish I could have a time machine and go back and watch stuff like this.
Yeah.
I know that we just found footage of Grandpa racing, and Mom made a video or a DVD for Dad for his birthday one year. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
You know, beautiful woman. I remember she worked out there at Walcott Bank when you and I were coming up, you, I, Rick, and Sam.
Yep.
And she was just a wonderful woman. I got nothing but, kind memories of your mother. And she really treated everyone well. Remember, hey, we're going to be giving away some prizes coming up here later on. We got a couple of Ray Cox Jr. T-shirts we're going to be giving away. And we got some C&W Trucking T-shirts we're going to give away. So hang in there. We will give you the questions as the show moves on, and we'll see if you can come and win one of those great-looking T-shirts. Hey, I wanted to ask you, a question too, Ray. Picture number 5, Wookie, put that up. I want you to tell me the story of this number 6 car. That I'm used to the number 11 car. It's an iconic number. I mean, you've run it for 40 years, and that, when I think Cox, I think number 11. How do you end up with a number 6 on that?
This was a car that he was actually, he got partnered with Jerry Reinhardt, I believe it was.
Okay.
And
it's a Mercury.
Yeah, this was actually, from what I was told, was an old Wood Brothers car.
Oh my God, it looks like it.
And it had, if I remember right, a 427 Ford big block in it.
Jeez.
And it was a good car. I mean, Dad absolutely fell in love with it the first time they raced it at Davenport.
I mean, here you got a Mercury Comet, and wouldn't you just once, Ray, like to jump in that car with a 427 in it and wheel it around the track just so you could kind of feel what your dad felt?
Dad said they didn't have power steering back there, and so I don't know.
You got to be a man.
Yeah,
you got to muscle on things.
I mean, when I first started racing, we didn't have power steering, but something that big with that big of a motor, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to do that one.
Yeah, we were a lot younger back then.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember when Steve Lance broke his wrist down at Peoria, and I drove Earthquake's number 3 late model. First night in that thing, he didn't have power steering on it, and I'm going to tell you, by the end of the feature, you're gassed, man. Your arms are cramping up, and you're like, hey, Steve Lance, he's built like Hulk Hogan, and I carry a briefcase. So I'm like, man, you got to do something. You got to put some power steering on this thing. But now, when you and I, Rick and Sam, were running around together, Wookie, let's look at picture number 6. This would be the first race car I remember you having. That's up at East Moline Speedway up the Rockland County Fairgrounds. Now, do I remember right, Ray? You and Rick took turns driving that car?
Yeah, this was a car that actually, this was a brief story on this one. Rick and Will Sandman bought this car together, and I think they only paid like $375 for the car.
Man, that's cheap racing.
Yeah, and Rick was working on it. I used to stop by once in a while and just see how things were going, and I ended up buying into it.
Yeah.
And then Will stepped out, and then it was at Bill's garage. Well, then Dad stopped by one night, and he talked to Bill, and Bill actually used to build the motors for Dad when Dad raced.
Oh, geez.
So he put together a 307, with just a little cam and some heads, and then Keith Waterman, who used to build Dad's roll cages, came by the shop, built the cage for it.
Right.
So it was like all of Dad's crew got together and built this. And we were going to switch off driving with it. And the third night out, I actually stuffed it in the wall. Turned it East Moline and totaled it. And Doug Hack could tell you a really good story about that. because we ran a Power Glide transmission
Okay.
in the car, and they didn't know how they were going to keep it cool.
Okay.
So they came up with an idea of putting a chest behind the driver's seat, putting the transmission cooler in it, and fill it with ice.
All right.
Well, that night when I hit the wall, that chest broke. All the water and everything was spilling out of the car and running down the track. Well, Doug Hack, he started screaming and yelling because he thought fuel was running down the track.
Right.
And so, well, the fire crew come up there and they're pulling me out of the car, and then they started figuring out why all the ice was all over the racetrack. So,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a funny story when we talk about it now.
Oh my God! They probably thought you had a six-pack of that day or something. Oh, what a great story! So that car, you guys are trading off driving, but now the next one we're going to show, Wookie. Let's look at picture number 7. Now this was a pro stock car, right? Right?
Yeah, they call it street stock, pro stock. That was actually a J.C. DeBille car.
Wow.
And I bought that car off of Richie Smith.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't want to finish it. He gave me a deal on the car, so I got with Brad, and the stub that was on that car was a stock stub, but it was actually off an ARCA car.
Okay.
So it was pretty heavy, pretty stout. But I put that together, and we did well with the car. We won quite a few features with it.
Now, that car was stunning. I mean, that was all airbrush paint on that thing?
Yep.
Who did the airbrush work for you?
Bob Philpott down
Okay.
in Muscatine.
All right.
His boy Troy now races.
Right,
and
I
they still
remember
do
that.
some lettering now.
Yeah, because that car, you had the A&W sponsor, you had the Walcott refrigeration. I mean, the car was just stunning to look at. Now, the last picture we looked at had a 154 on it. How did you guys come up with number 154?
It was actually 54 was the number we came up with.
Okay.
And that was Rick's birthday and
All
my
right.
birthday put together.
Oh.
So then when we got to the track, there was already a 54 there, so then we had to put a 1 on it. Yeah,
They went and
so-
ruined it.
I know.
So the pro stock car we were looking at, that was number 7.
Yep.
Where did 7 come from, right?
My birthday is in July.
Oh,
So July, so that was the 7th month. So when we went to that, we actually had 2 cars. That was actually my car. Then Mom wasn't real happy with me that I split off from the team and went on my own. So she said I couldn't have the 11. So
Oh, my.
Richie Cummers built Rick a brand new car, and that they kept the 11 on that one.
Oh, boy. How do you like that? Tyler Johnson checking in. Also, Tim Panache up in Iowa City. Wayne Shipley. Wayne, good to have you on board. And Ray, who's that one there? J.R. Roofer.
He's a class act. I mean, I went to school with Jerry and Lisa, his mom and dad, and
Okay.
They moved out to Roanoke, Indiana.
Okay.
To work at the GM plant out there, and Jr. and Jake actually drove modifieds for quite a few years.
Okay.
Jake actually come back to Davenport and drove Keith Hayslip's car
Yeah, I remember
for a
that.
special and won that race. But
Yeah.
Jr's a great guy.
Yeah. Brian Gotti checking in. Hey, let's go American Iron Racing Series.
Yeah.
Love that 58 Ford Brian's got. Thanks for checking in, Brian. The next show, or the next picture, is going to be number 8. Now, Ray, this was your first late model.
Yeah, that was actually the number 7 car that we had, the Pro Stock
Pro
car.
stock, okay.
We took it back down to Brad's, put it on the
Okay.
jig, cut the stub off, put a tube stub on it,
Yeah.
put a quick change under it, and then we ran that, when it was a UMP at the time.
Good.
And I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
But UMP, that's a
Yeah.
whole different ball game.
Whole different ball game, man.
financially, and I did that one year, and then we actually ended up destroying that car out at Hawkeye Raceway.
Wow. Then we got Mike Whiteman checking in, the Centralia kid, and Ken Feller, promoter up there at Macokota. Welcome aboard, guys. So, hey, we're going to start giving away some T-shirts. You want a Ray Cox Jr. T-shirt? First question we got, where did Ray get his first feature win? Now, are we going to let all them guess at that, Ray?
Sure.
All right. Hey, everybody can guess then. Where did Ray get his first feature win? We just need you to let us know, and you'll win one of those Ray Cox Jr. T-shirts. You can pick it up here at the Dunright TV studio at 1414 West Locust here in Davenport, Iowa, right on the way to the Speedway. So that would be, how do you like that? Wayne Shipley, my gosh. You got it. Shipley guesses Hawkeye right off the bat. And Wookie's getting your name wrote down. So, Wayne, stop by the studio. We're at 1414 West Kimberly. Look us up on Facebook. Wayne, I don't know if you're in town now. If you need us to mail it out, give Misty a call and let us know. We can send that thing out to you in the mail. But Steve Irwin also guessing Bob Danielson, East Moline Speedway. And Wayne Shipley says, I was there. So that's how he knew.
Yeah.
All right, we got a quick winner. We got some more shirts we're going to be giving away in a little while, so stay tuned in.
Yeah, I actually got to thank Wayne too, though.
Yeah.
This year we, decided to go back to the crate motor.
Okay.
And to order a brand new one, they're like $9,000.
Wow.
And I just was really kind of upset about the price that went up like that. And then Wayne actually called me and said, he goes, I think I know where I can get one.
Oh boy.
Well, then he got me hooked up with Todd Cooney.
Oh,
up
yeah.
in Ankeny, and
Right.
Todd had one sitting there, and
jeez.
so we went up and bought it. But thanks, Wayne.
Yeah. Hey, picture number 32. Let's get that up there, Wook, just to take a look at Ray's Open Wheel Modified, and right above you, Kayla, when she was running the four-cylinder cars. Crazy. Did you think, you typically don't think of, the women getting into racing, and yet, you've had Janet Guthrie was very successful, Danica Patrick very successful, and Kayla, you were next in line.
Yeah.
So, do you miss being behind the wheel?
I do and I don't. I wish that I would have been able to keep racing, but I had that back injury, and I wish I had a quicker car, but Dad obviously had a different plan for me.
You probably
Well-
detuned it.
Well,
No.
Come on, Dad.
Actually, I was more concerned about safety than I was anything.
Yeah.
We actually drove up to Michigan and bought that car.
Okay.
And it was because the guy that had it, the cage was put in by, I can't remember the name, but they built asphalt late models.
It was a good cage.
So
though.
it was a really good cage, and that was my biggest concern. So that's why we bought it. It was just a Ford Escort with a 1.9 in it, nothing real snazzy.
Okay,
But
yeah.
Brian Gotti did quite a bit of work to the engine for me, though.
Oh, yeah, the
so
Ford man.
we had to do something.
All right. Hey, let's go to picture 9, Wook. Now, this car, you were with Rob Gus. And, of course, Gus family, his dad was Bob Gus and Ray Gus Sr., his uncle and his cousin. But where would that have been at, Ray?
That was actually at West Liberty.
It looks like
Yep.
West Liberty. Okay.
Yeah, Rob asked me to drive the car a couple of times. They were having some issues with it. I
Yeah.
drove it at East Moline, and we did well. And then Knoxville actually was just starting back up at that
Okay.
time. So we went down for 4 races down at Knoxville, and we won 3 of them.
Wow.
And then we went to West Liberty and won season championship there.
And was that season championship night, Ray?
Yep, that was season championship.
And what year would that have been?
86.
86. My God. It was amazing that, you jumped in that 9G car and, and we were racing back then. It was a fast car, but it was not one of the highest dollar cars out there.
No.
But, man, you got behind the wheel of that thing and good things happened.
Yeah, it was a fun car to drive, though.
Yeah. So, man, I want to ask you, Ray, so what was your most favorite racing memory when you were, you're still behind the wheel, but, the best thing you ever had to happen to you behind the wheel of a race car?
Probably, I won the National Series in '87.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
Yes.
But the one that eluded me so much, and the one I really wanted, was the Ronnie Weed Memorial.
Oh, yeah. You got one of those, Ray,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We won that, and it's just like I say, growing up as a kid, we lived in Pleasant Valley,
Oh,
and we lived just a few houses down from Ronnie.
yeah.
So Dad was racing, and Dad and Ronnie hung out together all the time, and we would go down to Ronnie's house, and I'd sit in Ronnie's car or sit on the car, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and he would talk to me, and even when we raced together, when he was still racing modifieds, I remember one night I got into him, and it wasn't on purpose. It was an accident, but I went over to him, and he said, why don't you come in here and sit down for a minute? So
Oh,
I
boy.
walked into his trailer and I sat down, and he said, you know what you did wrong, right? I said, yeah, that's why I come over. He goes, okay. He goes, you remember that?
And that was it?
That was it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So he was a really cool guy, and I really, really wanted to win one of those races.
All right, so hey, we got question number 2, giving away another T-shirt. What chassis did Ray run during his 1987 National Series Championship? What brand car? Boy, there's a lot of them out there then. Dirtworks were really setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
Harris cars. So we need to know what brand car Ray was running when he won that National Series title. And let's talk about that a little bit, Ray. I mean, my gosh, you know, Dan and I were chasing the national title that year, and you're out on the road all the time. I mean, literally, you race from Texas to Florida to how many different states?
We were Oklahoma. We were down in Indiana. We raced 2 asphalt shows in Indiana.
Sure.
We went down to Kentucky and raced 3.
Yeah.
3 races in the Kentucky swing. I mean, yeah, we were all over. We put a lot of miles on the vehicle that year.
Wookie, we got a winner. Steve Johnson looks like he's the one.
Yeah, Steve actually had a car too. He had a J.C. DeVille car.
Hey, they were good cars.
Yes, they were.
Now, Ray, am I remembering correctly? In 1987, you probably could have got a DeVille car for about $7,000.
That's when we were on the National Series that year.
Okay.
We had $7,200 in that car, race ready, ready to hit the track.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean compared to we just said crate motors now are $9,000 just for the engine.
You know, those National Series races, I remember I won a few of them. We ended up, they were paying $1,000 to win back then.
Yep.
And I remember Dan Norton and I, we built a lot of our own stuff, and you drove for Dan too. We had $3,500 in the car when we went to the racetrack. We won the season opener up at East Moline, the IMCA national event. Then we went to Princeton, Illinois, past Bob Pierce on the white flag. We won that. There was $1,000. And then the next event we ran was Knoxville, Illinois. And we won that fair race, you know, and all of a sudden, you've about got a race car paid off. Now, you can't do that today.
No. The wife and I talked about that before, too, because she, knows the expenses. And she said, there's no way. Even if you won, 30 features,
right?
By the time you pay your expenses and the car and everything else, there's no way to pay it off.
Yeah.
When we ran that National Series, I got a lot of seconds.
Yeah,
a
lot of them.
When we were down in Texas, I got a second down there, and then got another $400 bonus for being the farthest pole. So that was that was $1,200 that we ended up with that race.
Take that money.
Yeah.
Picture number 10. Now this guy here, I got to tell you, I had a lot of good times. You, I, Sam, a lot when we were all growing up together. Sam, I, Ray Cox, and Rick, we all ran around together and spent a lot of nights at Stage West, Beethoven's, and then we'd roll into Perkins Restaurant about 2, 3 in the morning, whatever time it was. And if it was race night, well, we went racing, and then we went to Stage West or Beethoven's. But, Rick, I got to say, that guy, I loved him. Life's a funny thing. I'm 63 years old. You never know when the good Lord's going to call you home. But when I look back, if God gave me a magic wand and said, hey, change anything you want, Shane. We all had bumps, bruises. We made some mistakes, but I don't think I'd change anything. I'm still blessed that I met Rick. I miss the guy. He was a hell of a race car driver and won a lot of races. And, the love, I had for my brother Sam. He's still hanging in there. We're both getting older, but the love you had for Rick. And, he was not only a great brother, but a great competitor.
Yeah.
And what race would that have been, Ray, that he won there?
That was at East Moline.
Okay.
I'm not. No, you know what? That's not East Moline. I think that's Knoxville.
Yeah,
that's
I
actually
think you are
Knoxville.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's me standing in the background though on the left.
Yeah. What in the world are you doing there?
Yeah. Well, you got to support your brother too. Anyways. I think we might have got third that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won a lot of races and. How he did it, Rick was, he could drive the wheels off anything.
Yeah.
And, they would not work on the car until race day.
What the we're sitting there, we got cars unloaded, washed, we got them up in the air. You had a list a mile long of stuff you want to do, and Rick's car's sitting on a trailer, and Sam, Sam was the same way. Sat on the trailer, well, it's race night, we better do something. We better put some gas in it and charge the battery.
Yep, exactly. That's the way Rick was.
Hey, picture number 11. Now, these were two of the most beautiful cars of that era.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you something. So, Ray, I'm looking at it. That car had chrome rub rails and chrome bumpers on it. And the thing I loved about it, What's the story on Braydana Incorporated that was your sponsor? Where'd you get them from?
Braydana Incorporated was out of Naples, Florida.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Brad Steinman actually, at the time when I was younger, lived in Walcott.
All right.
And I went out with his daughter a few times, and the family was really good friends.
Yep.
And one night when we were putting that car together, that was in '87, he came out to the shop where we were at, and he was looking at the car, and he says, "You don't have it lettered yet." I said, "No." He goes, "I want those doors."
Really?
And I said, "Okay." He goes, and he pulled out a checkbook, wrote the check. And
The rest is history.
Yeah.
You know, when I seen that on there, I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with that name, but both cars were absolutely stunning, and again, all airbrush work on that thing, and I think the Braydana, it had a palm tree to the left of it, and I knew there was probably a connection to Florida, but I never did hear the story from you. But beautiful cars. Now I want to ask you something. Did that chrome make you go faster? Because I tried that once too.
No, that chrome actually had bullseyes on it.
It did, man. People just wanted to run into that shiny stuff.
Yeah, every time I put a chrome wheel on the car, I just tell her all the time I hated to put chrome or anything on the car because it seemed like it got wrecked the first night you took it out.
Hey, we got another T-shirt we're going to give away. This one, a C&W Trucking. What year did Ray Cox Jr. start racing? And hello to Wes Digman joining us and Tim Hazen, the number 97. Nice to see you on board, former track champion at Hawkeye Raceway and late model. But what year did Ray Cox Jr. start racing? How do you like? Boy, Bob Danielson. How did?
Wow.
Bob, I think what he does, he finds out who our guest is going to be every week.
And researches.
And then he researches and studies, and he's probably got more
what is this?
T-shirts.
1950.
1950 from Dave Hammond.
Wow.
How old are you? You're looking pretty good for your age there, Ray.
Well,
Hey, what do you enjoy most about driving a race car?
Just being around people. I mean, I enjoy people, when people come down and just, bull crap with you. I mean, I enjoy that. I just, over the years racing, I have met so many people and made so many friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps me going.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, when you talk about, it's really is a family affair. When I talked about your mom and dad and, you boys being in racing and now your daughter being at the track with you. And, I see that every week when they're coming in the gate at Davenport and coming in up at Liberty. It's a family affair, man. You get the whole family involved there.
Yeah.
And what other sport can you be involved in where the whole family's involved? I mean, yeah, you can sit up there and watch your son run track, but I mean, as far as getting into down and dirty, turning wrenches and all that stuff, nothing better than dirt track racing.
When we had our number 11 car, it was Herschel Roberts' old Sanger chassis that we had.
Yeah.
We ran that at East Moline. We would switch off on Friday and Sunday nights.
Okay.
And at the time, Jim and Joe Ross were switching off driving as well.
All right, I remember that.
Mr. Ross and his wife, they would bring a gallon of wine, and Mom and Dad would bring a big meat and cheese tray. And after the races, they would sit there and eat and drink wine after the races, and everybody would just put out lawn chairs,
Yeah. We would take a gas grill to the track, and I remember Vern leaving Hawkeye, and he'd say, "Hey, just lock the gate when you leave." And so we get out the gas grill, fire it up. We'd make burgers, brats, hot dogs, and everybody just sit around and have a good time.
Yeah.
And that was part of the great memories I got with Mom and Dad, and your mom and dad. And I remember Mike Weikert's mother. She would always bring something in a pickle jar, and I don't know what they are because I never ate them. But boy, everybody sure loved them, and she'd share them with everybody. And
when we went out to Indiana racing, and I was telling you earlier, JR's mom would make a full spread of food. She'd have a big crock pot of roast beef or, and salads and desserts, and they'd have it in the trailer, and we would sit there and just pig out all night long.
I should have been traveling with you.
Yeah.
Man, all that good food. We also got Wendy Davidson out there, Patovich. Thanks for tuning into the show. And Bob, you're on there every week. Carl Thompson, Verl Howell, watching from Maquoketa. Thanks for tuning in, Verl.
Yeah, Verl and I used to work together at Rotman's.
Yeah.
Maquoketa.
Oh, yeah,
there.
right.
Yeah.
And so you're at Rotman Motors. You also spent time up in West Liberty up there, right?
Yep, at Ron Alpin Ford.
Okay. And where are you working at now?
Right now I'm at Finn and Ford up in Dubuque.
Okay. All right. A little bit more of a drive, but
Yeah, it's all highway though. It only takes about 30 minutes to get to work every day.
yeah, it ain't like the old days. You know, when you and I started in racing, I mean, it was 2-lane blacktop roads. Today they got 4-lane highways going everywhere. So the kids today, they got it made.
Yep.
They get on their GPS. We had to get it out an old dusty map or a Ram McNally, and you know, you drive by, you know, the racetrack 6 times before you find out, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be. So, talk a little bit about, you know, and you've done a little bit of that, the cost of racing today. What did you have in Kayla's car when you hit the racetrack?
I think, you know, by the time we bought it and then did everything, I think we had, gosh, I think between $3,000 and $3,500.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, we bought the car strictly for safety, and then once we got it, I actually made some more modifications to make it safer. I bought her a really good racing seat, you know, brand new belts, you know, the suit, helmet. You know, I mean, I made sure she had all the safety equipment on. So, you know, the safety equipment now is even, you know, everything.
So much better.
Yeah, it's so much better than what it was. But, yeah, I remember when we first started racing, we wore T-shirts. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, T-shirts and white pants. As long as you had white pants on, you know, you'd burn up in a minute, but as long as you had a T-shirt and white pants,
you were good to go. Yep.
Yeah. I remember going to the racetrack back in the day, and, like, you go to East Moline, and now this is back when my dad was racing. We're looking at, I started in 75, so they actually had a board in the pit shack, and it had 1 through 100 on it. And so when you came up there, you know, if somebody already had number 56, like Gary Webb and late model, they'd have an X through it. So they knew Webb had it. So you'd have to pick a number nobody else had. And that kind of went away in the 70s, but it was just the way they did things back then. We didn't have technology, so today you just put in the X next to the number if somebody else has got it. But getting dirty and dusty at the racetrack, has that ever been an issue for you, Ray? Or you? That's one of the part of the love of dirt tracking. What do you think, Kayla?
Okay, he's gonna lie about this.
Okay.
He always says that he wants to go back to asphalt racing so bad, so he could just blow the car off with a blowgun at the end and get all the dust from the concrete off the asphalt.
Well, like I say, when we raced asphalt, you know, I mean, we did all those on the National Series. We did a few times, and then I went down I-70, raced down there.
Oh, yeah.
And when I come back, I drove for John Durbin, John and Marianne for a while, and John asked me at the time in '88, I believe it was, or no, 80. I don't remember what year. I think it was in the late '80s. They paved Hawkeye Downs.
Okay.
And John asked me what I thought about that, and I said, yeah, let's do it. You know, so we would go there, and the car that I was driving, he always had the slicks already on it.
Yeah.
And he would get to the track, dismount all his dirt tires, mount all his asphalt tires, and we would race there. And I mean, we had a good time. And then in '91, I got coupled with some guys up in Cedar Rapids, and we raced a late model one year, and then did a modified for 3 years up there. You bring the car home, back it off the trailer, and just get the dust rod, and just kind of wipe the dust off. And every other race, you shop back the asphalt stuff out of the inside of the car. So it was kind of nice.
Oh.
But dirt's where it's at, though. I mean, I miss the asphalt, I do, but dirt is where I was brought up at.
I remember, the year I was inducted in the Hall of Fame up at East Moline, Terry Ryan was inducted too. Also, the NASCAR Terry Ryan. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, hey, did you love it when you went asphalt racing? And he said, you know what, Shane, there ain't nothing like going down like he was talking about DuQuoin and down at Springfield. You're doing 150 down a straightaway on dirt, and then you got to hang a left. He said, no, that's fun. He said, but Daytona, you about fall asleep going down the backstretch. So, I guess to each your own. I love it all. It's all racing. I just prefer the dirt tracks.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, so how many different tracks do you think you've raced on, Ray? I mean, when we talk about, that national series back in the day, 50 tracks?
Yeah, probably 50, 70. I mean, when we go down to Florida for the Winter Series, Rick would run the dirt tracks. I'd run all the asphalt tracks. So, I was at Auburndale, Lakeland, Bronson.
Yeah.
On the asphalt down there. And then, there's so many. So,
Sam was sending me back pictures. Sam went with Rick down there to Florida. And I just remember saying, man, they're in Florida because there's palm trees and coconuts hanging above your head.
Yeah, I remember the year Sam went with us down there.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah, he said it was a great time, man. He loved it. So I would ask you, I usually ask the guests, hey, what do you think about women in racing? But obviously, you got a daughter that races, so you're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about it, I mean, I probably aged 15 years, in the years. I mean, I was so nervous. And when she wrecked her car, I mean, I was like, finally, we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, the mindset of some of the guys out there that race,
Yeah.
Don't want a girl on the racetrack.
I know, that's crazy.
And it's sad to see that,
Right.
And, she got picked on quite a bit, just because she was a girl. And I really wish that people didn't, feel that way.
Yeah. Hey, let's look up here. Robbie Verbeck watching from a tractor in the middle of a bean field. The Verbeck brothers. Hey, Robbie, glad you're watching us. Probably down in Anawan, just finally getting in the fields with all this rain we've had. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Carl Thompson, what was Ray's most scary moment in dirt track racing?
Oh, I mean, I hate fires.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why I always bought all the gear that I wear.
Right.
I mean, I think probably goes back to Jeff Walker.
Okay.
That night, he actually, before he went out for that race, came by my truck to see if I had an extra pair of gloves.
Okay.
Which I always do, and he knew that, and I wasn't there, so
Yeah.
he went out without the gloves that night. And Rick and I were actually standing right there in turn one when that happened.
Ah, man, that was a bad night.
Yeah, I mean, Rick and I don't even remember jumping over the wall down to the track, but
Yeah.
Rick and I were down there in just a split second to help him.
Wow. It just, it was like it was happening in slow motion.
Yeah.
And I remember Sam and I going up to see Jeff Walker in the hospital probably, it was shortly after, may have been the next day. And, my God, if you've ever been in a fire, it's the worst pain you'll ever feel. And so, it's amazing when I see Jeff running in street stock right now. See him out there running at Davenport Speedway on Friday nights. Because, boy, he went through a lot, and there was a long recovery period.
Yeah, I got upside down in East Wall Lane a few years back, and I mean, I was okay. It was fine. I was just sitting there, and I said, get the car rolled back over, I'm going to get out of here. And next thing you know, I looked over on the roof, and I see alcohol running past my head, and I was like, okay, time to go.
Yeah. Hey, do you have any racing superstitions? I sit over there on Friday nights. Now, we got, Ray, people will only draw with their left hand out of the chip draw. We got people that when they put on their gloves, they put on the right glove first. I mean, I watch these people, and I'm just amazed. And I got the luxury of being able to do that now that I'm not out there running with you guys. But what are your racing superstitions?
Definitely no chicken on race night.
Okay.
We had back when we had the Thunder Valley car. We went to the track, and we had a bad week the week before. And this one, when Kevin was promoting, and they had the Hard Luck Award.
Okay.
And it was Take a Lickin'
Yeah,
Award is what it was.
I remember that.
And we got it. And so we stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken, got a bucket of chicken, and brought it to the track. We ate it that night. Well, then that night, the battery cable fell off the car in the feature.
Oh, come on.
Somebody run into the back of us and punched a baseball-sized hole right through the fuel cell, so
Oh,
alcohol was
geez.
pouring out everywhere.
Yeah.
So it bent the tail on the car. So then I started reading an article about the Kosiskis, what they said about chicken before the races.
Okay.
So that was it. Now,
No more chicken?
No more chicken.
And you're talking about TVM, of course, Thunder Valley Mods were Schramm's cars, and they love chicken.
Yeah.
And they eat a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm with you.
But when you talk about the gloves and stuff, I mean, when I put my gear on, I put my right shoe on first.
Yeah.
And when I get in the car, I put my right glove on first.
It's just the way you do it.
You don't let us eat peanuts either.
Oh yeah,
No,
peanuts.
no
That's
peanuts.
that's
They're out.
taboo too. That's for if we have a bad night, the first thing I'll do is ask Michelle if she had peanuts.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
It's Michelle's fault.
Or Kayla will narc her out.
That's a good time. Well, let's see. We got some questions up there. Oh, hey, Brian Gotti talking about Emily. She always fought back by beating them, and she won a lot of races. Boy, Emily, glad to see her back in one of those Ayers cars. And let's see what else we got here. Congratulations on your retirement. When that happens at the end of the season, Ray, I already asked you before the show started, but man, you're going to miss it.
Yeah, I probably will. I probably will, but like I say, 44 years we've been doing this. We've been having
Amazing.
fun. I have accomplished, everything plus some.
Everything.
Everything I set out to do.
Yeah.
And it's been fulfillment. I've been happy. But it's growing up, getting older. I've got grandkids now.
Yeah.
It's time to kind of kick back and enjoy life a little bit.
Okay. Now, are you going to be one of those guys, like I was talking to Rocket Rob Tolan tonight, on the way over here to the show, and he has a hard time going to the racetrack when he's not racing. Will you be one of those guys that can go to the track and watch races, or what do you think, Kayla?
Oh, you will go with me and watch.
Yeah, we'll go and watch. But we found ourselves that when her and I go to Davenport, or if we go decide to watch, or we go somewhere else, it's so bad of me, but I critique everything that happens on the track. It's like he needs to change that, and he's got the wrong stagger. I mean, it's terrible.
Man, you ran West Liberty opening night this year. I was happy to see you there, Ray. You finished 5th. A stellar field of modifieds there.
Yeah.
And, man, you pulled off 5th place run. First time on a half mile in a while?
Well, yeah, it was the first time on a half mile for a while, and first time with that car.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was happy with the outcome of the way it was, but like I mentioned to you, it was a little spooky, too.
Well, man, I'm sitting up there, I'm watching you because we're friends, and, you're running through 1 and 2, you ain't lifting. That car's on the bar, the engine's, on the chip, and you're hammered down. And I think the only place I'd see you lift was down there in 3 and 4. You'd have to burp it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that, that's scary.
Yeah, it was. And I actually told them when I got out of the car, my hands were shaking a little bit.
Yeah.
And I said, I've never, I felt like I've never been that fast. I mean, I've rode a lot of laps at West Liberty.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was ever that spooked before.
Yeah. The car was pinned to the racetrack and flying.
And like I mentioned, I had a vibration the last 3 laps.
Okay.
And, I kept thinking, oh, my God, wheels coming loose. I was like, and you start playing all these scenarios in your head. What could possibly happen, at 100 mile an hour going into the corners.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God, what are you doing? Pull off, And it's like, no, there's only 3 more laps. I could do this.
So what was the vibration?
We ended up bending a bolt on the brake floater.
Oh. And
the brake floater cammed over. So every time when I was getting into the corner, it was pulling down on. When I was trail braking the car getting in, it was pulling down on the pinion.
I got you.
So the drive shaft and the yoke on the pinion were hitting.
Okay, all right.
So it still could have been bad, but
So if you could race, with any driver from back in the day, be a teammate with him. I mean, you and Rick were running around as teammates for a long time. Sam and I were teammates driving for Norton. If you could pick one driver from back in the day, who would that driver be? You talked about Whedon. Would it be a Whedon, or who would you like to be your teammate?
God, there's so many good guys.
There really is. I mean, we grew up in the golden era of racing.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, Mike Neffnager, and you just go down the list.
Mel Morris. Yeah. I mean, Mel. I mean, I used to, as a kid, when I was watching Mel Morris race,
Yeah.
and if things didn't go his way, or something didn't happen, he'd have his hand waving at the flagman with one finger, and
Right.
I'd laugh. I mean, I thought that was the greatest thing, and people would cheer him, for that.
Do you remember that chant they had? I'd sit over at Davenport. You had the Whedon crowd, you had the Mel Morris crowd, you had the Gus crowd. Everybody had their certain area you had to sit in.
It was rip them up, tear them up, give them hell, Mel.
There you go. That was the one.
That was it. Yep, that was it.
I'm like, man, I want to get old enough so I can have my own chant like Mel Morris.
Yeah.
But boy, that guy would put on a show.
Yeah, he would.
He really would. So, would the guy be Mel Morris you'd race with if you could have for a teammate?
Probably, that would be a good one, but it probably like what Kayla always wanted. I'd always want to race with my dad.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
If I had to go back, back that far, it would be fun to race with my dad.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? He was a great guy. Dan Spratt, could we possibly get this live inside our group at American Residential Rights Equality? Dan, you talked to me about that. Please send me a friend request on Facebook to Shane Davis, and I will accept it, and I will IM you, give you my phone number. We can talk on the phone, and we'll make that happen. So what was Ray's favorite track and why? That's Mike Viren chiming in.
West Liberty.
West Liberty, okay.
West Liberty, yeah. And I've always said that if I didn't live 4 blocks from Maquoketa, we'd race West Liberty.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like the track. I mean, it's a fun, you know, but like I said, I'm a little older now, so it's a little spookier.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, West Liberty's always been one of my favorites.
I remember Sam and I would go up there off and on with Dan, and we always had good luck up at Liberty running the half mile. But the one thing I liked about it, you know, you and I were bull ring racers, so we'd be in there, you know, pounding it out, hammering it out, and then, you know, you have to pound all the dents out the next week before you went to the racetrack
Right.
again. But Liberty, I mean, I never tore my car up. I felt blessed, but I thought, man, on the rare occasion there was a wreck, oh boy.
I had 2 of them there. I destroyed 2 cars at West
Oh
Liberty.
my God.
One of them was actually in '87 during the National Series.
Okay,
We had Brad wanted to try some things on the car,
all right,
so we changed some things and we went there, and we were headed down the backstretch in the feature, and John Irwin was leading.
okay,
Steve Johnson was second. I was third.
all right.
And
Man.
John Irwin blew an engine. And when he did, it laid down a huge smoke screen. You couldn't even see where you were going at all.
Oh, man.
And the next thing you know, I hit something really hard, and I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
And it was like a split second after it ended up being Steve Johnson. I had ran the driver's door because he got
geez.
sideways. And a split second after I hit him, I got hit from behind.
Okay.
And it was actually John Brumley.
Oh, boy.
Didn't see me, and he actually went under the car so far it caved the oil pan in on the engine.
Oh, my gosh.
So it destroyed the car, and like I said, we were in a spot where we were off for 2 weeks
Okay.
on the National Series, and Stevie Burrows, Paul Burrows,
Yep.
you know, his dad, they actually,
Bam.
yep, they got the car tore apart. I ended up spending a couple of days in Iowa City over the
Okay.
deal with a concussion, and they got the car tore apart, down to Brad's, put a new rear tail, new front stub.
Okay.
Got the car, new rear end, got the car completely assembled, and we got it done and loaded it and headed for Kansas for the next race.
Oh, my God. That is a story.
Yeah.
You know, but back then, man, we used to work on them things around the clock. We
Yeah.
were dedicated.
Yeah.
Hey, we got another T-shirt we're going to give away now. What year did Ray Cox Jr. drive his first IMCA modified? You've seen pro stocks out there and everything else, but I want to ask you what year he drove his first IMCA modified. And if you're the lucky winner, you can head down here to 1414 West Locust and pick up a T-shirt. Wookie, let's go to picture number 13. I got a question for Ray on this one. Now, that car, Randy's Ray Smart.
Yep.
Man, that was a great guy.
Ray
He had
Anderson,
great
yep.
cars. They were another winner, Kevin Feller.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
That's cheating.
Cheat. Cheat. Hey, so the K2, where did that come from, Ray?
Kayla.
Okay.
And her birthday was February 2nd.
Oh, hey, how do you like that? All right. Well, I remember when you came out with that car, it was a beautiful car, but I thought, okay, I never did ask you what the K2 come from, but, you know, Randy at Ray Smart, you know, at that time, was he building Leaf Spring were the FR1 cars?
Yeah, for one, yeah.
And then he had the coil cars, which were called, what did he call those? Anyway, he had a different name for both of them, but boy, they were both fast.
Yeah, that car was, we picked that car up locally, and it was just a 3-link car is all it was.
Okay.
You know, and the coil in the front on the left, coil in the back on the right. And the car,
Worked phenomenal.
It was. The car was quick, and we actually won the Iowa State Championship down in Burlington with that car.
I mean, is that crazy?
Yeah, we showed up down there just like that.
Okay.
And the next day, I got a phone call from Randy, and he says, "Hey, were you racing in Burlington?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you win?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Some guy said you showed up in just a black pickup, flatbed trailer with Ray Smart.
Okay.
And you kicked everybody's butt." I said, "Yeah, we were there."
Ray Smart Raider. There we go. Yeah, the Raider was the the spring car.
Yeah.
And then the Leaf Spring was FR1.
FR1,
but
yeah.
what? And this means nothing. Back in the day, there were two brothers that run those Ray Smart FR1 cars, and they were winning everything. I remember seeing them up at the Super Nationals. It probably would have been about, it was probably in the 90s, 95. and I could never remember what their names were. But anyway, good to know the Race Smart Raiders. Brian Gotti come up with that name. Wayne Shipley. Kevin says, give the T-shirt to somebody else. I think Ray's going to have to bring that home and give it to you, Kevin. So let's take a look at picture number 14, Wook. That would be, this was back in the Big John Brockman days and Herbie.
Yep.
Now, Ray, I lost track of Herbie. Is Herbie still around?
Yeah, he's still a walkout. He's
Okay.
living in like an assisted living now. He's retired.
Okay.
Kind of kick back, relaxing.
All right. But that 70 was kind of honoring Big John Brockman back
This
in those
was-
days.
I was racing for Chuck Pershing at the time.
Troy Folkerts, you're right, Brian Gotti. That's the brothers. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was racing for Chuck Pershing. We were running the Chryslers.
Yeah.
And John showed up at the track one night at Eastwell Lane, and he says, he goes, what's a guy got to pay a shoe in a car? I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm looking for a driver.
Are you kidding
And
me?
I said, okay. And it was the last race of the season.
All right.
And he says, I bought a car. Why don't you come look at it?
Okay.
So I went out to his shop the next day, and I recognized the car. It was Randy Wages' Shaw car.
Oh, okay.
And I said, yeah, I'll drive this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we put the car together, and we won the first night out with it at Makokata. It was actually season opener, the first time Makokata was back in business.
Yeah.
We won that race, and
Wow.
we had pretty good success with that car.
Oh, boy. Hey, picture number 15, Wook. Let's look at that. That's one of Dino Dan's cars. And, Norton was kind of like a mad scientist. That guy, he built some stuff. And, I got to a point when I was driving for him, I said, don't tell me what's in the motor. I don't want to know what's in the motor. I just knew it'd be fast.
Yeah.
And was this down at Alito?
Yep.
And you won
3 out of the 4 races we went down there.
3 out of 4 in that thing.
Yeah.
Man, that was a good car.
It was. We won quite a few. One out at Hawkeye Raceway with it. One at East Moline with it. Yeah, it was. When you say that about the motors, it was.
It was, yeah, you never knew.
Yeah, I mean, I would have walked in on him one time when he was putting one together, and I just looked at it, and I was like, "What are you gonna do with that?"
Yeah. Well, that's when you're running tonight, right?
Yeah, and we put that motor in the car. We won.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. Dan was. He was like a scientist when it come to that stuff.
He was. So that guy, now, I don't recognize that guy with dark hair that's flagging. Who would that be?
That's pretty Doug Hack.
Pretty Doug Hack back in the day.
It's funny because there's a lot of pictures that I have. He's in almost every one of them.
I know, man. You know what? Another legend racing. I mean, you got Doug out there. You got Kevin up at Makokata, and we all been around this game a lot of years. And it's going to be a sad day when we kind of step back and let the young guys take over. But it's going to happen one of these days.
Yeah.
Hey, picture 16, Wook. Let's put that up and see what that one was. There you go. Yeah, and that was must have been up at Tipton, or was that?
No, that
at
was
Makokata?
that was at Makokata.
When Darkside was promoting up there.
Yep.
Okay.
That was a car that I bought off of Chris Stein. Well, actually, a buddy of mine in Cedar Rapids bought the car
Okay.
from Chris Stein.
Okay.
And
What kind of car was that?
that was a Mach 1.
All right, I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, that was
That's
a
what it
Mach
looked
1.
like.
And then I ended up buying the car, and we won a ton of races with that one. We actually took the Back Road Challenge and Mid-Season Championship with it.
Okay.
And we came to the front and won.
Man, that's
And
awesome.
then I asked Timmy and Ryan, I said, are you guys going to do that for season championship? And they go, no.
No, they didn't want to pay out all that money. That's what it was.
Yeah, but that was an awesome car.
Yeah. Boy, and Dave, here he is, after all these years, standing there with you in Victory Lane.
Yeah, Dave was doing all our shocks for us at that time.
Man, and then, of course, Kayla. And who's the little one in there?
That was a trophy girl. I'm not sure who she was that
Oh,
night.
sure. That's one of the nice things they do up at Liberty now. They have a drawing for all the kids, and one of the kids, gets to be the trophy presenter that night. And I know that, it means a lot to a lot of those kids.
Yeah, they like that stuff.
So let's take a look at picture number 18. There you go.
Yeah,
I like that red. That's back when you were running Brian Gotti motors.
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
that's the Mach 1 there too.
And so tell me, Ray, were you running? You were running an open motor.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the 348 or what motor was in that car?
That was the Chevys. That one there was actually a 383. which I just sold that motor like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Are you kidding me?
I kept that motor. We won so many races with that engine.
Just couldn't let it go.
I couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's out in a limited late model out in Oklahoma now.
Oh, my God.
And they're loving it.
They're loving it. They're probably like, hey, you got any more of those?
Yeah.
And, of course, Ron Alpin Ford is a sponsor on that thing. But that was, Mach 1, he built some beautiful race cars.
Yeah, I begged Mike to build me another car just like this. Herbie said, get with him, tell him it doesn't matter what it takes, build another car. And at the time, he was really concentrating on the late model program.
Okay.
And he had dismantled the modified jig and didn't want to mess with it.
Now, was that a 3-link car?
That was a 4-bar.
Okay, 4-bar car.
4-bar car, yep.
Wow, man, that thing was fast. How do you like that? Let's go to picture number 20. Take a look there. Another picture down Victory Lane. And that, again, was up at Maquoketa.
Yep.
Another win.
Yep.
And your wife, we don't get to see a lot of her, Ray.
No, she sits in the stands a lot. And I tried to get her to come out,
right,
for pictures and stuff, and she just like, no, that's a fine.
I think I drug her against her will out there that night.
How do you like that? Yeah, I like that. And Kayla, you're up there, man. So tell me, Ray, what do you do with your trophies now? I mean, back in the day, I was so proud I had them all over the living room, and then, they've kind of migrated up to the attic now. What?
They're, Chuck Persian, when I was driving for him, all the trophies were going out to his shop.
Oh, good.
And then his sister ended up buying the house and the shop and everything for her woodwork, and her husband said the trophies are staying.
Are you kidding me?
There's 101 trophies out there.
Oh, my God.
And then my garage has got a bunch of them up on the shelves.
Sure.
And then there's a bunch in the house downstairs on the bar. And,
yeah.
So
right.
I got a bunch. There was a while that I was, when we'd win, we would give them out to the kids.
Yeah.
I'd pull up by the fence at Davenport and just pick out a kid and hand it through the fence.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, probably made their day.
It did.
Look at that. Brian Gotti said, I think Ray won 11 in a row with that car.
We did. Yeah.
Man, that
was
is
crazy.
Just crazy.
And of course you get the people start to boo, because they think you're cheating and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
of course you're cheating. You're winning. That's funny. Okay, let's go to picture number 23. There we go. Now, Ray, you always had good-looking cars. It just seems like whatever, the splash that was on that car, it was a beautiful splash, but it was still simple, but yet you could read the sponsors and, everything on that. What car was that one?
That was our Stealth.
Oh, it was?
That was a Stealth car, yeah.
So Mike Whiteman, when he was building those Stealths, there was a period of time when Jeff Morris was winning 24, 25 features a year with that car. I looked at that thing. I went over that thing with a fine-tooth comb, and the one thing I liked about them is they looked safe.
Yeah.
Just real safe.
Yeah, the cars were really, really well built. The first car that we had from Mike in 06,
okay,
I believe, no. And it was, we won the track championship first year we had one.
Sure.
At Maquoketa.
All right.
I mean, the car was just on a rail.
Okay.
It was just on a rail.
Oh, man. So now let's take a look at picture number 26. There we go.
That's our new Shaw car that we have now.
And that is a beautiful race car. Now, what color's the frame on that? Is that black?
It's a metallic gunmetal gray.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love gunmetal gray.
Right here.
Kayla,
all the
all
colors
right.
on the car she picked out. Even the deck. The deck is a metallic gunmetal gray as well, and the body is a metallic white.
Now, who did the vinyl graphics on it?
Stephen Camper. Stephen Camper's done my cars for the last 9-10 years now.
Oh, my God. Now, is that vinyl wrap, or is that just...
Just decals.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah, we decided last year to go back to basic decals.
Yeah.
And I told Stephen, well, I shouldn't say Kayla did. Kayla, like I say, the last 5 or 6 years, Kayla has, dealt with Stephen. I don't even know what the car's going to look like until it gets done.
Till it's done. All right. He comes out and does it for you?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that purple looks great. The numbers, I always like big numbers. They're easy to read. Now, today, with everybody running transponders and stuff, it doesn't play as big a role. But I always thought, man, I want people to be able to see my number. So, you don't get, you pull up in the lineup, you're running third, and all of a sudden they got you in, 25th. And you're like, hey. But that car just looks beautiful. Nothing better. And so let's look at picture number 31. There we go. Who's that guy? Steve Johnson, huh?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
Steve, he last year when we first came out with the car, he was running Ayers
Okay.
car at the
I
time.
remember that. And winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah.
And he was there every single night helping us with the car.
Oh, boy.
Steve is probably one of my best friends. He's there all the time. When we struggled with the car last year,
Okay.
he said, "Bring it to me."
All right.
So we took it to his house, and it was there for a couple of weeks, and
All
he
right.
went through the whole car, front to rear, and
Wow.
Steve's a really good guy.
Now, Steve still looks young. How old is he now? Because he's been around forever, too.
Oh God, I think he
Is
told
he
me.
our age or
No, I think
older?
he's like 85.
Something like
86,
that?
yeah.
Hey, Steve, you look great for 85. Well, you're going to pay for that one.
Yeah, he just got his hair done yesterday too, so it looks pretty good.
Oh, man, that is something else. I'm going to see him at the racetrack and talk to him about that. My God. Picture number 33, Wook. That one right there. Man, that is a great shot. Great smile on your face. Tell me a little bit about that one, Ray.
With the class of cars that they have right now,
Right.
you took a 20-car field out there, 18 of them could win.
They could.
And every win that I get, it's just as special as the first one that I ever had.
Sure.
I still get emotional, during interviews, trying to thank everybody for what happened.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's special,
Yeah.
and I appreciate everything that everybody does, so it makes it really, really happy.
Right.
It gives me a really happy heart, to do stuff like that.
Okay. And that was, up at Kokota again?
Yep.
All right. Great win. Let's take a look at picture number 34. And, Ray, whenever I went to Kokota and seen you running up there, you're up there on the high side, running around the rim. And you kind of talked about how right now 3 and 4, the high side's fast, but in 1 and 2, you got to move down a little bit. But doesn't that car look beautiful up on the bar, pulling the left front? Not extremely pulling the left front, but that thing's hooked up.
Yeah, that was. I think that's actually at the Fall Bash at Tipton last year.
Right,
that's-
the
yeah.
fence. Okay,
Yep.
you got it.
That might
Yeah.
be Davenport.
No. Oh yeah, it might be Davenport. It might be Davenport. Coming
Oh,
up
look at the
forward.
wall. I see that copper
Yeah.
on the wall.
It is.
You're right. That is Davenport.
Yeah, and that was actually our open motor we had in there too. We went back to the open motor last year at the end of the season.
Now, do you have any of your old motors left?
No, like I say,
Okay.
the last one went to Oklahoma, and that's it. So
All right.
Just,
Now, what was Gotti building you for Ford open motors?
when we had when we had the red Mach 1, we actually bought Kevin Bloom's Mach 1.
Okay.
At the same time, we got the car turnkey and had a 408 Ford,
Right.
and then we bought,
Wow.
and then we decided to go back and buy the other 408 that he had, plus a 418 that was sitting there,
Oh,
which had C3 Robert Yates heads on it.
oh my gosh.
Which, the motor dynoed at 418 horse, or yeah, no. 714 horse.
704, yeah.
714 horse.
So how do you hook that up?
You can't.
You can't.
I ran the motor 2 times. Once at Davenport, and I think I turned 5,200 because you couldn't
yeah.
touch a throttle. And then I went to West Liberty with it, and I had a lot of fun at West Liberty.
I bet you had a lot of
Yeah.
fun up there at Liberty.
And then we ended up selling it to a UMP guy down in Lincoln, Illinois.
Sure. Oh, boy. Look, let's see that picture number 35. There we go, back on the gas. Yeah, and that car just looks beautiful going around the racetrack.
Yeah.
That's something else.
We switched to last year. I was gonna be done.
Okay.
And Kayla, she kept asking me, what, if you had to run another year, what would you have? What kind of car would you get?
Okay.
Because at the time I had a Harris car, and
All right.
I wanted to sell it, and I said probably either a Shaw or a Razor, one
Okay.
of those two, and I let it go with that.
Okay.
And she called me, or I got home from work, and she said, "I got you a car.
Okay.
I got one lined up, but you got to sell your Harley."
What?
Yeah, and I'm thinking,
Oh,
come
man.
on.
Come on.
So I said, you know what? You sell the Harley, I'll get the car. Well,
Okay.
she ended up selling the Harley for more money than I paid for it. So she got the car. We got the car through West Digman,
Okay.
and it was a brand new Shaw. And
Yeah.
the tech support that you get from those guys is second to none.
Oh man.
I mean,
that's
I've been
great.
on the phone, with Jeff Taylor
Sure.
the last couple of weeks every day, and he actually sent me a message, this morning. How'd you do? How'd you do?
Yeah.
How was the car? So, and
Second place Saturday night up
yeah,
there.
yeah, car was on a rail.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, hey, we went over an hour.
Wow.
I told you, Ray, we could talk for hours and hours, but we've been on over an hour. So first, I'm going to ask you, Kayla, do you have any words of wisdoms or any parting thoughts as we get ready to end the program?
I'm not
Anything
sure.
on your mind?
I'm just glad that, Ray Cox Jr. is my dad. I mean, I
Hey.
feel super, privileged to have him as my dad.
Yeah.
And I don't tell him very often, but he's pretty cool.
He's a good man.
He's old, but he's cool.
He's old. Hey, we are getting old.
Not as old as Steve.
All right, so that's right. Steve's 85 or whatever the heck he is. Ray, what do you think?
With everybody coming into racing now, the biggest thing that I learned, from my father is respect.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out there and race door to door, I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there that I know that would say that, if they had a choice, hopefully they'd say I raced with Ray.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go out and race with a guy for 20 laps and door to door, never hit him, never beat on him, and respect that, you're going to gain a lot of respect in the community for that. So,
yeah, I always said that about you. There was 3 guys that I enjoyed watching in that. It was John Bull, and it was Doug Crampton, and you, because, at the end of the night when you're rolling that thing in the trailer, it usually looked like it looked when you rolled it out of the trailer. And that just tells you got a clean driver out there that's, really taking care of his equipment. I always respected that about you and the other 2 drivers. And, you had a wonderful career.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
hey,
it's been,
you've
like I
done
said,
more than most people could, ever expect.
Yeah. Seen a lot of states, seen a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've done everything I ever wanted to do.
All right.
Loved every minute, and I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this thing up then. We want to thank everybody for tuning in here to Done Right TV, to the True Grit podcast. We're on here every Monday night, 7 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Check out our Facebook page and Done Right TV, and you'll be able to see who the guest is for next week. And I'd just like to ask everybody, get out there and support your local dirt track, whether that's Maquoketa on Saturday nights, West Liberty, Davenport Friday night, Donaldson. Kevin works where on Friday nights? Columbus Junction.
Yep.
There you go. Columbus Junction, any of the local racetracks, wherever you're at. Hey, if you're in Indiana, support those local tracks. And got some people on there still wishing you good luck, saying they love you, Ray, and that's pretty honorable there. So with that being said, God bless each and every one of you great race fans for tuning in and racers out there. And this is Shane Davis saying I'll be seeing you around the track. Good night.